Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. We talk a lot on the show about ways to improve ourselves and our businesses. And today we're going to be tackling two concepts that I feel like get mixed up all the time.
Yeah.
Productivity versus efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
And these are two concepts that are all about getting things done.
Yeah.
But, as I was saying, they often get kind of muddled together. So we're going to try to untangle them a little bit today.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. And, hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand the difference between these two things, and that should help you achieve more with less stress, you say.
Absolutely. I mean, in my experience, it's really surprising how much confusion there is around these two terms.
Yeah.
They really are distinct concepts, though, and, using them interchangeably can lead to some real problems.
For sure. So I guess the place to start is to just define these two things.
Okay.
What exactly is the difference between productivity and efficiency?
Sure. So think of productivity as like the amount of output you produce relative to the input.
Okay.
It's really about the quantity of work you get done.
Okay.
Efficiency, on the other hand, is all about how you get that work done. So it's about optimizing your resources, minimizing waste, and maximizing the value of your effort.
So what you're saying is somebody could be super busy all day long, but not actually be productive if they're not focusing on the right things.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like just being busy to be busy.
Yeah, just spinning their wheels, right? Like imagine, a salesperson who makes 100 calls a day but only closes one deal.
Wow.
They might look productive on paper because they're constantly working,
Right.
but their actual output is really quite low compared to, let's say, another salesperson who only makes 20 calls but closes 10 deals. They're being far more productive even though they're doing less because they're focusing on those high-value activities.
All right. So it's all about, I guess, not just like checking things off a to-do list, but making sure those tasks are really valuable, right?
Yeah, it's about moving the needle. It's about impact.
Absolutely. So we talked about productivity. What about efficiency? A lot of people think that's just about speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really common misconception. Efficiency is not just about doing things quickly. It's about doing them smartly. It's about finding ways to streamline your processes, eliminate waste, and get the most out of your time and energy.
So somebody could rush through a task and maybe make a bunch of mistakes or,
Right, exactly.
not do a good job. They might be fast, but they're not being efficient.
Right, because they're going to have to go back and fix those mistakes.
Exactly.
So true efficiency involves identifying bottlenecks in your workflow, choosing the right tools for the job, and making sure your efforts are aligned with your overall goals. It makes me think of the watermelon metric. Have you heard of that?
I think so. Fill me in.
So it's basically something that looks good on the surface, but is actually rotten underneath. Think of a company that is obsessed with shipping new features. They want to have lots of output, but they're completely ignoring software quality.
Oh, yeah.
So they might hit their output targets in terms of like number of features shipped, but the product is buggy and unusable.
Ouch. Yeah, nobody wants to be responsible for that. But so how do we avoid that?
Right.
How do we find that sweet spot between productivity and efficiency?
Yeah, that's the $1,000,000 question, and that's what we're going to dive into.
Awesome.
But I think a good place to start is maybe to look at a company that I think has done a pretty good job at this, Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Netflix, everyone knows Netflix, right?
Of course.
They're known for having this super seamless streaming experience for literally millions of users worldwide. And that's really a testament to their effectiveness, right? They're achieving what they set out to do. But I think what's even more remarkable is how they do it so efficiently. Like they've had to scale their systems and just constantly refine their processes to handle just the massive volume of users that they have.
So it's not like they're just throwing, more servers and bandwidth at the problem.
Yeah.
There's a real strategy behind how they're being so efficient.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They are masters of data analysis. Like they use it for everything from video compression to content recommendations. They're constantly running these A/B tests to see, what features users are responding to. And they're constantly tweaking their algorithms, both to improve that user experience, but also the efficiency of their operations.
So it really sounds like they've built a culture of efficiency there where everyone's focused on getting the most out of their resources.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's something we can all learn from, whether we're running a global company or just managing our own to-do list.
Absolutely. And I think one of the key takeaways from the Netflix example is that efficiency isn't this like one-time fix. It's an ongoing process of optimization.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like they're constantly looking for ways to improve, even when things are going well.
Well, yeah, I mean, the world's constantly changing, right? Technology is evolving, and our own needs and priorities, they change over time too, right? So it stands to reason that our approach to efficiency needs to change too.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, a software developer who's constantly updating their code, right, to improve performance.
Right.
We should be doing the same thing with our workflows and our processes, always looking for ways to work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. I love that. So let's get into some more like practical strategies.
Okay.
For the listener at home, like what can we do to actually, improve our own efficiency? What are some things we can start doing today to get more out of our time and energy?
Well, I think a great starting point is to track your time. Like, really pay attention to where are you spending your hours and your minutes each day? Are you getting bogged down with tasks that aren't really that important? Are there any bottlenecks in your workflow that are slowing you down?
It's so important. Sometimes it's amazing how much time can kind of just slip away without us even realizing it.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So once you have a clear picture, I guess, of like where your time is actually going, then you can start making changes.
Right. And once you've identified those time sinks, you can start looking for ways to eliminate them or streamline them. Like, are there tasks that you could automate? Can you delegate anything to someone else? Can you batch similar tasks together, to reduce that kind of context switching?
Yeah. And what about technology? It seems like every day there's some new app or tool
Right.
that promises to make us more efficient. But how do we know which ones are actually worth it?
Yeah, I mean, technology can be a really powerful lever for efficiency, but it's important to use it strategically. So, don't just jump on every latest trend or get distracted by shiny objects, right?
Right.
Instead, focus on tools that solve specific problems you're facing and that integrate well with your existing workflow.
Yeah. It's like that saying, a fool with a tool is still a fool. We need to be thoughtful about how we use technology to not let it control us, I guess.
Right. And I think it's important to remember that even the best tools in the world are only as good as the person using them.
Right.
If you don't have clear goals and a solid understanding of your own processes, technology won't magically make you more efficient.
Right. It's not a silver bullet.
It's not a magic bullet. Exactly.
So we've talked about tracking our time, optimizing our processes, using technology strategically. What are some other things that we can do?
Well, I think one of the biggest efficiency killers is distractions.
Oh, for sure.
It's crazy how much time we lose to email, social media, notifications, and just general multitasking.
Yeah.
So, one of the best things you can do is try to create this focused work environment where you can minimize distractions and get into a flow state.
Yeah, when you're constantly interrupted, it's so hard to get meaningful work done.
It's impossible, right? So I think things like time blocking can help.
Yeah.
Where you actually schedule specific blocks of time in your day where you're going to focus on certain tasks.
Okay, yeah.
You can turn off your notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and just let people know that you're not available during those times.
Yeah, set those boundaries.
Yeah.
And what about, those times when you just can't seem to get motivated? Are there any strategies to kind of boost your productivity when you're just feeling sluggish?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the best things you can do is break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Okay.
This makes them less daunting and gives you a sense of accomplishment as you check those smaller items off your list.
Yeah, eat the elephant one bite at a time, right?
Exactly. Another helpful technique is to set clear deadlines, even if they're artificial.
Oh.
Having a deadline, even if you're setting it for yourself, can create a sense of urgency and motivate you to get started.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what about, those tasks that we just dread doing?
Ugh, I know, we all have them, right?
I all have them. Any advice on how to tackle those?
Yeah, one common strategy is what's called the eat the frog technique.
Okay.
And that is where you start your day by tackling your most challenging or unpleasant task first. Get it out of the way, first thing, and then the rest of your day will feel much easier.
Oh, that's great. I've also found it kind of helpful to reframe those tasks. Instead of focusing on how much I dislike it, I try to find something positive about it. Like
Right.
maybe it's an opportunity for me to learn or to grow.
Yeah, that's a great mindset shift. And I think, even if you don't enjoy a particular task, there's often a sense of satisfaction that comes with just getting it done,
Oh,
checking that box. Right.
yeah, absolutely. So we've covered a lot of ground here today, from tracking our time to, eliminating distractions and even eating those frogs first thing in the morning.
Hmm.
There are so many things I feel like we can do to be more efficient. But before we wrap up, I wanted to touch on something that I think is really important, and that's rest and recovery.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
In our quest to always be more efficient, it's easy to fall into that trap of working longer and harder and think you can just power through.
Right.
But burnout is a real thing,
Definitely.
and it can be incredibly detrimental to our productivity, especially in the long run.
Yeah, if you burn out, you're not going to be productive at all.
Exactly.
Right.
So how do we avoid that? How do we kind of build that rest and recovery into our routines?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that rest is not a luxury. It's a necessity. It's essential for our physical and mental well-being. And it actually makes us more productive in the long run.
Yeah, can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
Right. So what are some specific things that we can do to recharge?
Well, one of the most important things is to make sure you're getting enough sleep. Most adults need between 7 and 8 hours of sleep per night. And then during the day, even just taking short breaks can make a big difference.
Okay.
Get up, move around, stretch, go for a walk. Just step away from your work for a few minutes to clear your head.
And what about things like meditation or mindfulness?
Yeah, those can be incredibly helpful for reducing stress and improving focus. Even just a few minutes of, mindful breathing can help calm your mind and bring you back into the present moment.
So it sounds like efficiency isn't just about working, harder and faster. It's about working smarter and taking care of ourselves so that we can be productive over the long haul.
Exactly. It's about finding that sustainable approach that allows you to achieve your goals without sacrificing your well-being.
So it sounds like finding that right balance between productivity and efficiency is kind of the key to achieving our goals, both professional and personal.
Absolutely. It's not about pushing ourselves to the limit all the time.
Right.
It's more about finding a sustainable rhythm where you can do your best work and take care of yourself at the same time.
So for our listener at home who's maybe ready to put all of this into practice,
Yeah.
what's like one key takeaway that you'd like to leave them with?
I think the best place to start is to ask yourself one simple question. Am I working on the right things? It's so easy to just get caught up in the whirlwind of activity and lose sight of what truly matters. So just take a minute, step back, reflect on your goals, think about your priorities, and make sure that your efforts are actually aligned with those.
That's a great point. It's not just about being busy. It's about being effective,
Right.
making sure we're actually spending our time on things that are going to move us forward.
Exactly. And I think it's also important to remember that, efficiency isn't like a destination. It's more of a journey. There's always room for improvement. And often the best strategies are the ones that we discover through experimentation and self-reflection.
Yeah. What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
So yeah, be open to trying new things, adjusting your approach, and just finding what works best for you to hit that sweet spot of productivity and efficiency.
Yeah, exactly. It's this continuous process of learning, adapting, and optimizing. And the more we focus on working smarter and not harder, the more we can achieve with, less stress and more satisfaction.
I love that. Well, that's about all the time we have for today. So that's a wrap for this deep dive into productivity versus efficiency.
Great conversation.
We hope you learned some valuable insights and got some practical tips that'll help you achieve more with less effort. Until next time, keep diving deeper and keep striving for that perfect balance between effectiveness and efficiency.